Hello. Well, welcome everyone. It's nice to see some of you here. Been tagging you on Twitter, and I hope you don't mind. Hey, Autistic Shield, and I think I tagged everybody else so far. But please forgive me. I won't be typing much in the chat for this one. If you didn't kind of get the hint from the description of this video, it's going to be my first commentary on another video, on another documentary that was done. First time I'm going to attempt live to address something as someone else put it out. Now, I will make a disclaimer that these are my own opinions. I don't ask anybody else to have them. And of course, I did take that live video of theirs, and with the help of another account. You all know sometimes Virilian is here in the chat. I'll give him credit for his editing skills. I did edit that video up that I'll be addressing to add some points that I want to. It's not in its original format, so I don't want you to have the impression that it's originally as stated. A lot of it is, but not. You know how you can clip things and take things out and then just add some counterpoints, and that's what I've done. I'll be bringing it up and pausing it and starting it and things like that and making points. And you all know I'm not that technical, and I've got a potato. So I don't expect it to go as smooth as some of the other channels you may watch. It's my first time at doing something like this, but this particular documentary put out by NBC, Nobody Bothering Challenge, as far as I'm concerned. And I didn't make up that acronym. Another account did. And I'm stealing it because it was funny. Well, thank you, Jean. Oh, that was funny and made me laugh. Nobody Bothering to Challenge, this documentary out there, which I found to be quite biased. I am talking about A Marriage by Trial. The NBC documentary recently put out with on the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, basically, in my opinion, still taking the stand that that the verdict couldn't possibly be true or correct, and that everybody's got it wrong, and they're all right because Amber Heard said so. Y'all know how I feel about that from before. I don't claim to be unbiased about this. I do believe that Johnny Depp is a victim, and I get very upset when the larger voices of those representing the victims in general decide that he couldn't possibly be because he's a man. Because, of course, 85% of domestic violence happens against women or is reported by women, 15% by men. And in the same breath, they'll say, well, men underreport because of other stigmas. So statistic doesn't mean that it's always them, and yet they use it against them. Those representing this mentality, which I call herd mentality right now. Yeah, I put it out there. They're all just backing her no matter what. It doesn't matter what she said or admitted to. It doesn't matter what was proven in a court of law. It only matters what she says, because we're supposed to believe all victims no matter what, whether they lie or cheat or anything. It just couldn't be anything because she said so. And I don't want to victim shame. That's not what I intend to do. But you're not going to say that Johnny Depp was not a victim. Because currently, I feel that he absolutely is a victim right now of a slander campaign still going on against him, as if he's the perpetrator, as if he is the one doing all of this. Forgetting 6 years prior. Like we're supposed to forget all that? I don't appreciate being talked to by NBC as if I'm mindless sheep just going along because I'm a Johnny fan. Because I'm so enamored with Johnny Depp that I can't think for myself or see evidence or understand when a liar is a liar. I'm offended, and that's why I'm doing this. And I hope you all will give me some patience as I go through. For those of you coming in that I don't get to tap at, like Aaron and Icarus and Kino, welcome. Again, welcome Ellie Woods. Welcome everybody who's coming in. I'm not going to be able to type as much. If you can't tell by my voice, I'm nervous as hell about this, but I'm going to carry on. And let's just start with the video, okay? And I will be cutting it. Hopefully my volume is okay. I hope I'm not blasting anybody out. Please let me know now before I start playing the video if there is anything that has to be adjusted for volume. To me, it looks like it's pretty even at about 50%. Mrs. Cassandra, what about you? Hey, boo. I didn't see you till you just said that. But hey. I'm sorry. Hey, Kim. I see you now, too. I didn't see it before. I'm not watching the chat as carefully as usual. So please forgive me if I don't mention your name. It's not that I don't love you. Maybe I didn't see you. Okay. Uncool Martin, welcome. I just see you popped in and you added me so I could see that nice and bright. Okay. I don't see any problems of anybody saying that the volume is bad. So I think I'm just going to carry on with trying to show. As I play the video that I'm going to put up, please tell me if the volume is too high or too low. And if you could, also let me know if you're wearing headphones at the time, because that actually matters as far as, you know, what I adjusted to. All right. Let's see. Maybe I should do it this way. Can we all see that pretty well? There's no volume yet. I haven't started. Well, I think I have it up there. Okay, Grace, thank you. Get those flowers. Which flowers are we talking about? Are you talking to me, Mrs. Cassandra, or somebody else in the chat? Oh, I see what you're talking about. That's funny. Now, don't make me crack up. I'm trying to keep my composure up here, so don't start. Thank you, Kino. Thank you. Okay, good. All right, so here we go with the volume on the video. And again, remember it's been edited. A lot of it is directly from it, but I am actually going to be doing commentary on and off about it, okay? So here we go.
Yeah. I struggle to think of a case like this where you had both sides really using the courtroom to fight the public opinion war.
I think a lot of people want to dismiss this case and say that this is two celebrities and who cares. People don't always get the nuances of it because they're seeing the headlines.
You had Johnny Depp and all of his fans came out of the woodwork. They were on TikTok. They were on the comment threads.
People believed him. They didn't believe her. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But that's how the social media frenzy works.
We are now in.
Okay, my first bone of contention. And yes, I'm on a soapbox here. This is commentary about what they just said. Yeah, you know what? Johnny's friends did come out, didn't they? Supporters of Johnny. After 6 years of looking at all the crap that Amber put out against him. Do you remember? Who dropped the videos against Johnny Depp about the slamming of the cabinets in the kitchen? Who released the audio of all the negativity? Where did all of that come from? Where did all these pictures come from of the so-called evidence that they were going to present? That didn't come from Johnny Depp, did it? Those came from Amber Heard's phone. Every single piece of it. Every single piece of it originated from Amber Heard. She took the videos. She made the recordings. How do you think they got released? Do you think Johnny did that to himself? Was Johnny an ambassador for the ACLU up there, kind of nefariously mentioning him without mentioning him every chance that she got? Was Johnny the manufacturer of rumors for those 6 years? I don't think so. So I'm a little offended that they say that because after all of this, there's now a trial and we get to piece it all together, and he actually got support because he decided to speak out as a victim and tell his side. Now it's a smear campaign, as if Amber didn't have her bots out there doing anything. I'm sorry, Amber Heard and Amber Heard's team. We're just not that into you. It's not our fault we don't like you or believe you. You did that. Okay? We support Johnny, not because we're starstruck, not because we're amatrons with no brains, but because we saw evidence that clearly said Amber may not be telling the truth. And everything we saw after we got that notion kind of proved it. You know, I'm offended. These are smart people saying this, okay? Smart people. Mandy, I know you hear me. I know you hear me. And if you want up, you just tell me, because I'll send you a link in 2 heartbeats, okay? Because I'm offended by this documentary, and especially the people that came out. Powerful people who are representing domestic violence victims, but still putting Amber Heard over Johnny Depp. And that's not fair. I'm all for the good work that they do. And personally, I don't have anything against not one person that appeared in this video, except for the narrative that they're trying to sell here. Except for the narrative that it's all Johnny's PR agenda. It's all Johnny it's an abuser taking it out on the victim again. That's what they're saying. I just can't. This is a picture of, this is Ruth Glenn. She's the CEO of the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Not Me Too, not the ACLU, but people that actually spoke out against the one-sidedness and the women's only issue, that wanted to speak only for all survivors. And yet here she is, right there. Gonna slam Johnny Depp, I'll bet. All right. All right. I'm sorry. I had to listen to this multiple times. You guys are going to have to hear it too. And here we go.
In a world where social media is used as a weapon.
When people act like social media is completely irrelevant to the real world, that's plainly incorrect. And there is no denying the impact that social media posts and viral content can have on our real world.
I did notice something on your hand. Oh, the other one. Is that an engagement ring?
In 2015, they got married, and they had a big, luxurious wedding on one of Johnny Depp's private islands. Yeah, it was mostly good. I'm trying to think. Until it got bad. Only a year.
Hold on here. For those of you that watched the trial with me, where we saw the evidence all pre-presented, for those of you that are familiar with the UK trial, which they will slander in here, they're not mentioning the trial. But did not Amber speak of much abuse all the way back to the first day that they met in 2011 or whenever that was? Did she not say that he continually held her down, oppressed her, abused her in all kinds of manners, right up until the wedding. That it didn't happen after they got married right away. Like it didn't just automatically appear. To hear her tell it during the trial, it'd been going on all along. So why did it only become an issue after, in 2015, she was approached with the prenup? I've always wanted to ask that. And yeah, I'm going there. Let's put our heads together for a minute and tell me. So for 4 years prior, she's in this terribly abusive relationship. He gives her a lovely ring, which she won't wear. He's wearing it, by the way. I guess it wasn't to her liking. I don't know what the issue is there. Well, maybe it wasn't big enough. All right. Then they have a huge fight about a prenup. They get married. They're still fighting about the prenup. And everything gets crazy after that. The marriage ends within a year. Because Johnny put his children first. Always. That estate wasn't going to anybody but his kids from the start. I don't know why Amber Heard married Johnny Depp. She says she loved him. If she loved him, why was that such a bone of contention? All right, I'm going to say it. Yeah, this is commentary. I'm going to put the other side. If they're going to slam Johnny Depp, that social media is just totally against Amber Heard, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm against Amber Heard. She looks like a gold digger. She presented herself that way to me. Maybe she did to the rest of us out there supporting Johnny Heard. Okay. Johnny Depp did not convince me by slandering Amber Heard, because I never heard him say anything really about her until the trial. I never saw anything from him until the trial. I never heard anything bad come out of Johnny Depp about Amber Heard. All the negativity that I saw, all of the videos, all of the audio, everything came from Amber Heard. So how is it a big social media thing against Amber Heard for that whole prior to this trial? I'm talking about the prior to the trial, the setup, which they are totally ignoring in this documentary. They're not bothering to tell you how we got here. They're just saying, here we are. Look, Amber's getting all this bad press. Boo-hoo, Amber. You kind of deserve some bad press. Boo-hoo, Amber. Don't act like that 6 years didn't exist and you didn't do all this. That's not fair. That's what I am so upset about. They actually want to put out a documentary as if, bingo, bam, there's a trial and everybody was on Johnny's side. Nobody was on Amber's side for no good reason. And it did impact it. But you're not going to say it was the jury, they're actually saying that the jury couldn't come to a good decision because people were on Johnny's side. Okay, Americans, those of you that kind of support the legal system, as faulty as it is, it does have problems, but I'm still behind it. Do you want to believe that? Do you want to believe because people made tweets about Amber Heard that jury decided that case based on that? I don't, because that just blows our whole thing. That means that nobody ever really gets a fair shake in the court. It's all about whatever the media says, right? I do agree the media had a lot to say about this. Everybody did. It was a frenzy, but it didn't alter the verdict. Only one who altered that verdict was the evidence and Amber Heard herself. Amber Heard being part of that evidence. Amber Heard's presence in the courtroom. Amber Heard's evidence that she put forth, that was put up for scrutiny, that was debunked, that was thrown out, that was disregarded. Yeah, it is. And they're crying foul about that. But why? Because we can't believe it if it's not true? Well, we're supposed to just believe it because she said so. She even added things in. But let me let you listen to more.
A year later, did Amber Heard file for divorce?
The actor's estranged wife saying she's a victim of domestic abuse. She's seen leaving court with visible bruises, asking a judge for a restraining order.
She went to the courthouse with a bruise on her face.
Johnny Depp's team said that she was just trying to expedite the process by filing this domestic restraining order and that it actually had no merit. It was pretty remarkable the speed at which they actually reached a divorce settlement, and it was for $7 million for Amber Heard.
She had pledged all of that money to two charities, the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and the ACLU. And they had a joint statement released at the time that neither party in the case was lying for financial gain.
Now, some of you may recall during the trial, which, by the way, this whole documentary ignores the trial, except for when they talk about the jury not knowing what they were doing because they were influenced by social media. I kid you not. If you saw it, you know this is true, what I just said. They don't talk about the trial or the evidence or the fact that during this whole process, that right before Amber Heard went to get that restraining order, she sent a demand letter to Johnny Depp, demanding all 3 penthouses, all expenses, X amount of money, or I'm going to go file a restraining order on you. Listen, to me, that looks a little bit like extortion. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that doesn't happen every day in the marital disputes in divorce court, because it does. It's common practice with lawyers back and forth to do that. But not necessarily to go and threaten for violence like this, okay? It wasn't a problem until she didn't think she was going to get what she wanted. Okay? Apparently, it was okay to be an abuse victim until you don't get paid for it. You see where I'm coming from? You see what that looks like? No wonder I was with all those people out there on Twitter supporting Johnny Depp, eh? Why wouldn't I be? I saw all that. Okay? She put it out there. She got all her friends in the divorce to come forward. By the way, none of those friends back her up now in the proceedings that happened here in the United States. They wouldn't come testify. The testimony that they gave is actually debunked by police body cam footage, which came out afterwards. But we're not allowed to talk about that because Amber Heard's a victim. We're not allowed to say that, right? We're not allowed to say that people just, bonded with her to try to get those penthouses and this free ride. We're not allowed to look at the issue that maybe Amber Heard could be at fault here, because we're all going to get lumped in together as now we're going to be called that we're victim shaming. You can call it victim shaming if you prove to me there's a victim. You did not. Okay? The bruise that's on her face was not there the day before or the day after. Tell me, did he fly from wherever he was, whack her in the head just so she had evidence to go for that restraining order? How did it not appear the day before and then all day after and just magically be there? And how is it that TMZ knew exactly where to be? How is it that there were back doors and side doors that she could have went in and out privately if she did not want to make a big scene? And how is it when she's on the steps there, she's got a security guard protecting her, and also she has her PR agent. She has her PR agent right there with her, filing for the restraining order. Why do you need your PR agent right there with you? Because there might be press, or because there's going to be press? And if you threaten someone about what you're going to do because you want to embarrass them into an early settlement to get what you want, I guess you need the press there, right? So is it that much of a leap that she or those around her representing her made sure that happened? I don't think so. Well, here, let's get to this, because she did it in the right climate, right? Like she knew where she'd get her backing, eh? Because of all of this.
Tonight, fallen Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein expected to face charges.
A year after their divorce settlement was reached, became the Me Too movement.
Women will be silenced no more.
We saw a lot of people who had been living with the secrets and the shame for a very long time, feeling power in numbers.
Amber Heard penned an op-ed for
Okay. Here we're going to start talking about the op-ed and Me Too entering the picture, right? Because it wasn't enough that she got the divorce. She got the $7 million that she wanted, okay? She got some expenses, whatever. She got what she wanted. And then because she didn't want to look like a gold digger, she said, okay, I'm going to donate it all because, that's what people were saying. Because it was already leaked about how she got her divorce so quickly. Okay, it was already said as to the extortion that happened with that letter. It leaked. It was out there. So she said she donated it all, or rather she pledged it all. But not any of that is coming from her, is it? Okay, she still has it. She did. And she's using the ACLU in the Me Too movement. Okay, they're backing her lawyers to protect her. She's got a whole team looking at this op-ed that's going to come out. She's in Aquaman. Okay, she needs PR. This is her moment. Okay, Amber Heard has an agenda. Yeah, I'm not going to blame her for it. She's a starlet. I mean, who would think she doesn't? She wants to be famous and she wants to do movies that are bigger and better. And this is her opportunity to do it. Okay, but did she have to do it at the expense of Johnny Depp? No, that was just the easier way to do it. Because after all, she is conniving and a little bit lazy. And there was opportunity, and she didn't care. Plus, Johnny walked away. And nobody walks away from Amber Heard, eh? We saw that. We saw that with past relationships that Amber Heard had. We've seen the violence in Amber Heard with other people. It's easy to believe that Johnny had to put up with that too. Johnny is the one who had enough and walked away. And she's on a revenge kick now. And she can use it to her advantage. Well, I don't believe in Me Too anymore. I stood behind it when it happened. I want victims to come out and speak. Victims. Yes, I do. I want survivors to come out and tell their stories. I want everybody to have an even playing field to do it. I want equality in it. I don't want Me Too. Men too. Women too. Because me has no gender. Okay? Me Too needs to be genderless. It's not only women. And that's what they're turning it into. And that's what I am so pissed off about. Because you're oppressing a whole group of people who are also victims that you say you support so much. You say we have to blindly support Amber Heard while she keeps going after somebody who's a victim. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. Luke, it's hard. Some of the supporters, I hear you, like that are on her side. It's hard to believe that they keep doing it, but they do. Listen, I don't think she's not human. I believe she's got issues. But I don't believe that I need to give her the support she's demanding. And let's be clear, she's demanding it. She thinks she's entitled to my support because she's a woman. And because she said so. And I say, no. No. I don't think so. Because there are bad women. There are women that use this movement to their own advantage. And I think I'm looking at one right there. Okay? I think so. I don't know if you guys do, and I'm not speaking for anybody else. I think I'm looking at somebody that took the Me Too movement and hijacked it for their own purposes. And I think that the people in the ACLU and all, I think they kind of thought they had a star. They had somebody willing to go for it. And they also are using that to their advantage. And now that they're all entrenched in it, it's too embarrassing to back up and say, we didn't know. Because they did. Because when they took Johnny out of the op-ed, they testified that Amber Heard's the one that insisted it go back in. Because nobody was going to publish it. That sucks. Abuse has no gender. Okay? It could be a man or a woman.
For the Washington Post, in which she talked about being a survivor of domestic violence. She never actually named her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, in the op-ed.
The phrase that she used was, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, but the timeline insinuates who she's discussing.
As to whether she wrote the title or not.
So you're saying just having that exhibit in evidence is enough?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Her name is on the article. Okay. What does an average reader expect? So that alone is sufficient to beat a motion to strike. If they want to come back later and say, gee, she didn't write the title, as if that were a defense, I hope they make that argument. I hope they make that argument to the jury, because it's about as credible as her argument that, oh, I wasn't referring to Johnny Depp.
Who was she referring to?
And the testimony of Terrence Doherty was very clear that when they took out the references to Johnny Depp, no one was interested in this article anymore. So she said, put it back in, make it more spicy so people would read. Otherwise, she couldn't get it in the Washington Post. It would be back in Teenage Vogue, which is the other publication that was considering publishing it, because no one was interested in what she had to say unless she was defaming Mr. Depp.
Thank you for recognizing that. Yes, Mandy, I put in what needed to be into what NBC thought they were not going to add in there. They're just going to mention that she never said his name. Okay. The jury decided she didn't have to. Everyone knew who she was talking about. She made clear of that. From the time that op-ed came out in 2018 until this trial date, don't tell me that she didn't use every opportunity to make sure everyone knew who she was talking about. Right, Mandy? I know you know. I know you know, girl. And yeah, isn't it nice they left that out? But we got that clip, and we're going to put it in there. That's what you forgot, NBC. That's what you forgot, all of you saying it's social media. You want to paint only one side of the picture, like we're all crazy, that we didn't see what we saw or hear what we heard, okay? That Amber was just quiet for 6 years until the trial. No, she wasn't. No, damn, she was not. Wow, damn. And again, thank you for your wonderful editing, sir. Thank you so much. I couldn't have done this by myself, by the way.
Johnny Depp filed for defamation in Fairfax County, Virginia.
He argues because of the allegations, his career has suffered.
He sued her for $50 million, and she said, fine, I'll sue you for $100 million. Amber Heard.
Do you see her smirk? Look, this is a reporter for NBC, okay, one of the many, who decided that Amber was a victim. And she was actually proud of every damn thing that Amber did against Johnny. She didn't once think that Johnny was a victim. Not once. It was impossible to her. Every statement that she makes in this documentary shows that. And you know what? She's entitled to her opinion. Just as I'm going to point out that she's not bringing any evidence forward to prove that Johnny is the actual abuser. She doesn't even have any evidence that Amber is the victim. Well, she's putting her opinion out there like that, to go along that social media doesn't know what they're doing. And that's the only reason that Amber lost her case.
Heard's counterclaim is that he defamed her through his attorney, Adam Waldman, who accused her of creating an abuse hoax.
So who were you here to support?
Johnny Depp. I've been coming since it started. This is for all my Johnny Depp fans out there. I say hi to him before he pulled in for court.
They're both public figures. There's a higher standard of defamation at play. It's about whether you maliciously went after this person with a reckless disregard of the truth.
Truth is an absolute defense to a defamation claim.
Valid. I agree with all of that. Okay. What they're not telling you is they met the proof. We were there at the trial. Okay. What I didn't think was possible actually happened. That jury took all three questions put to them about whether Amber Heard had defamed Johnny Depp, and they answered yes 7 times, times 3, 21 times. Yeah. They said, yeah, all 3 points. She defamed him, which means they had to prove malicious. And you know how they did? With her own words during the trial. Well, this isn't going to be portrayed here. they're just going to say, oh, the jury just took one look at social media and, hey, Johnny Depp, he makes a great pirate. We just went with it because wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, he's handsome because we're all idiots. No, I don't think so, Jamie. Jamie, a well-respected attorney. And his spokesperson, he actually, let me just tell you, like, he does make some good points here. He is saying what defamation is. He is. But I think actually during this whole thing, they cut up his stuff. I don't think he's actually saying that Johnny's the abuser. I don't think that. I think he's making valid points about how hard it was to prove it and that it was remarkable that it did get proved. Defamation is pretty hard to prove when it's two celebrities. I agree with her about that. I do. But he did it. Okay. It's the next statement. I really hold on to your wig there, Mandy, because here it comes.
Claim. The question was Ms. Heard telling the truth when she generally claimed to be a victim of abuse? Having the cameras in the courtroom sensationalizes everything. It becomes a soap opera of sorts.
Because there were cameras, people could edit videos online into TikToks, into rapid fire Twitter videos, and watch it almost like a gladiator ceremony.
This was a defamation case. And before you knew it, we had all of these elements of domestic violence introduced.
Hey. Yeah. They're going to go there. They're saying that, yeah, the sensationalism. We just wanted to hear all of that stuff. Yeah. Like, Yes, it was hard. But who's the one who put the op-ed about domestic violence out there? All right. We didn't turn a defamation case into something about the domestic violence. Okay. Amber Heard did that with the op-ed. She defamed him with domestic violence. How are we not going to talk about it? That was what she did. That's what she claimed. Oh, he did. Okay. I know, Mrs. Cassandra, objection hearsay. I get it. And it's kind of ridiculous that they're actually blaming all of us about this, making it about domestic violence when the op-ed did that. And did Johnny Depp do the op-ed? No. Was Johnny Depp out there talking and doing speeches for the ACLU as a domestic abuse survivor, talking about abuse all of the time, making himself a target for this? No, I don't see him. I did not see him out there doing that at all. All right. I did see Amber doing it. I did see Amber put the focus of this whole trial on that. That was Amber's and Amber's team. Did Johnny's team open up with sexual allegations or abuse against Amber? No, they just said that she was not telling the truth. I believe it was her team, Elaine Bredehoft, who actually led with all of that. Y'all remember the trial? The one that they don't want you to remember? The facts and evidence that came forward that they don't want to talk about while they do this, okay? As they let the herd mentality take over and push the narrative that none of us know what we're doing by supporting Johnny Depp, because we should all back who they believe the victim is. Who they believe the victim is. Not who they proved the victim is, but who they believe the victim is, because Amber Heard said so. Well, you know what? Johnny says he's a victim. I was there in that, listening to that court testimony from Johnny Depp, where he clearly stated that he was a victim of domestic violence. Why aren't they standing up for him? Do they not support all domestic violence victims? They're shaming us for victim shaming. Can we all now collectively shame NBC? I am. Hey, yo, NBC, I see a victim right there on that screen. Why aren't you speaking for him? Why is it all Amber Heard? Who's paying you? You salacious little beast, NBC? Pretty little peacock. You know, I know there's money in it. And I know you're going to have a piece that's a little biased, but you're going to expect shit like this because I'm not going to be called dumb and an idiot for believing that Amber Heard did not prove her case. Because I was there in that trial. That you only want to say the jury was tainted by social media because they couldn't possibly have looked at the evidence. They couldn't possibly have heard every word that she said because they too obviously don't know their brains and they're so easily influenced. Now, I'm not going to say that social media doesn't influence because it does. Because I watched 6 years of Amber Heard do it to Johnny Depp. And I watched a man's career get ruined because of it. So yeah, I agree with you. Social media can influence really loud. You're just pissed off because the tables turned and that Johnny got more support because people believed him, because people believed the evidence, because people believed and could prove that she kept changing her statements. How many times did she submit the same depositions over and over again during this case? I see a victim here, Johnny Depp. Why aren't you speaking for him? Because he's not a woman and he doesn't have a big Me Too issue all behind him. And the ACLU doesn't want to recognize him because Amber Heard said so. I don't think that's fair. And I'm going to keep talking about it.
The Depp Heard case was a civil defamation suit. Civil suit meaning it's for money.
I pride myself on honesty. I pride myself on truth. Truth is the only thing I'm interested in. Other lies will get you nowhere, but lies build upon lies and build upon lies. It's too much to cover. Since I knew that there was no truth to it whatsoever, I felt it my responsibility to stand up not only for myself in that instance, but stand up for my children. I thought it was diabolical that my children would have to go to school and have their friends or people in the school approach them with the infamous People magazine cover with Miss Heard with a dark bruise on her face. So today is the first opportunity that I've been able to speak about this case in full for the first time. And it's been 6 years of trying times. It's very strange when one day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds you're Quasimodo. I didn't deserve that, nor did my children, nor did the people who have believed in me for all these years. I didn't want any of those people to believe that I had done them wrong or lied to them or that I was a fraud. My goal is the truth. My goal is the truth. It killed me that people that I had spoken with, that I had met with over the years, and I gave them the best advice I could. All I could think of was that those people would think that I was a fraud and that I had lied to them. So I had to wait for my opportunity to address the charges, which were criminal charges. I felt the responsibility of clearing the record was the only way that I could get to the point where I could speak. Has really taken this full 6 years. So it was my responsibility, I felt, to not only attempt to clear my name for the sake of, for many reasons, but I wanted to clear my children of this horrid thing that they were having to read about their father, which was untrue, but never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
Now she took.
Now, that was added, of course, because that whole section there of Johnny saying why he filed the suit against Amber Heard, why he's speaking out, that was clearly left out of this lovely documentary from NBC. No one mentions it. As a matter of fact, you're going to notice further on that no one from Johnny's team is here to speak. It's only Elaine Bredehoft and a few reporters from NBC and Miss Glenn and Jamie. They speak. There's a couple of other, that the dark-haired guy, I can't even remember his name if it flashes on the screen. But he's a representative of some type in the industry. He knows the social media aspect of it, I do believe. Could be incorrect. I am a little nervous, so grant me that. Well, I am clearly, with the help of others, putting other things into this video, speaking over it where I need to make commentary. It's clearly commentary what I'm doing here. Yes, I am using parts of the NBC video. And I expect they might have an issue with that, but I think that's fair game. That's what we call fair use. They're allowed to put one side, and I'm allowed to get pissed off about it and come out here and say something. And yeah, I'm a little annoyed, but I think I'm being calm about it and trying to express where I'm having issues with this, because it does look like an absolute hit piece, saying that all of us in social media, we just ganged up on Amber Heard to help Johnny Depp re-victimize her. That's what they're saying here. They're saying he only filed the defamation case to re-victimize her, because that's what abusers do. You heard him. Does that look like somebody who is just out for revenge? This man had children who are affected by what Amber Heard did. He had a career that he lost. They proved in that court of law how much he lost. They proved by tracing the video, the emails, the correspondence, all of the conversations that people had, that yes, it did affect. Amber Heard putting that op-ed out damaged his career. Yes, it did. And they proved it with multiple witnesses. Okay, multiple witnesses that know the industry, that know forensic accounting. They even proved it with Amber Heard's witnesses, sorry to say. Some of their testimony actually proved that Johnny lost money and lost credibility and lost social media presence due to the op-ed. There was no doubt that it damaged him. Okay, and he's trying to say why he came forth, and not once there did he say, because I just didn't want anything to do with her anymore, or anything foul about her. He didn't mention her, just his reputation, just his children's lives, just the fact that people asked him if he ever hit her, and he said no. Okay, how about all the other relationships he's had in his life? He's 50 some odd years old. He's been with many women. Not one would come forward and say that she was right. Matter of fact, many of them came forward to say she's absolutely wrong. Now, I'm not going to say that just because you've never hit anybody that you won't. But I will say the odds are highly against it. His character, especially since coming from an abused family himself, watching his mother and father's relationship, knowing that he had developed his own way of dealing with that by retreating, proving that over and over again in tapes and videos and in actual day-to-day action in other relationships with other people, testimony given to prove it, that his go-to is to walk away, to remove himself from the situation. But that's not what she says. She's trying to paint another picture. But we're not allowed to talk about that, right? Because that's victim shaming. We're not allowed to talk about what she's doing to who I actually think is the victim. She's victim shaming. She's the one using this whole situation to beat up on the victim. She's the abuser who's manipulating and gaslighting, the one they talk about in here that they assume is Johnny Depp the whole time. The picture they'd like to paint that it's Johnny Depp the whole time, because it couldn't possibly be the other way, because that's a woman, right? Because the odds are it is the woman. And yeah, I'll agree. Statistically, odds are the woman is the victim. Amber Heard's a victim of not getting her way. That's as far as I'll go. She's a victim of not getting what she wanted.
Took a bit of the kitchen sink approach and put on evidence of various incidents of alleged abuse.
A large part of Amber Heard's case and defense has been communications from Johnny Depp about Amber Heard.
Hopefully, that cunt's rotting corpse is decomposing in the fucking trunk of a Honda Civic.
He says that it was an appeal to dark humor in a dark time.
I just want to add here that not one text message was sent to Amber Heard like that. This was to his friends, most of it post-divorce or during the divorce, while she was seeing other men or whatever in a very hurtful situation. Now, I don't support the language he used. I don't support the statements he made. But I do support the fact that he had the right to say them. And I do also say that she said just as bad. Oh, right to him. That she gaslit, that she taunted, embarrassed, and humiliated him repeatedly. She passed pictures to her friends of him passed out with ice cream all over him, saying that he could hurt himself, but you need to pass it to all your friends to embarrass and humiliate him instead of cleaning him up, instead of waking him up. You gaslit him into all kinds of conversations saying he vomited on himself, but there was never any vomit or change of clothes or cleaning him up. I got an issue here because they make it sound like Johnny's words, which were horrible, and he admitted them. He actually said, yeah, I said it. I felt it. That's what I did. He didn't try to hide it. He didn't. But his words are worse than what she did to him. His words mean that she's allowed to do this to him for 6 years, ruin his career. She admits to hitting him. She told many therapists that she did. Therapists came out and said she'd rather hit him than have him leave the room or not have a discussion with her about the argument that was going on. He's not allowed to leave because she'll hit him. Okay, she said it. Well, his words are worse. You see what I'm saying here? His words, they hurt her. His words did all these. Yeah, because that's the only evidence they had, the tweets. They have no evidence that he ever laid a hand on her. Not one person from Amber Heard's side came forward to say, I saw anything between them ever. But they did come forward to say that they saw Amber doing shit. I don't think Johnny paid them to do that. Some of these people were people that knew Amber and cared about Amber. Some of these people are just as heartbroken as Johnny Depp over Amber's behavior. They cared about her too.
He did his best to explain his personality and to try to get sympathy from the jury and from the public at large.
Do you remember the first time that he physically hit you?
Yes. She was asking him about a tattoo he had altered because it initially said Winona Forever. Winona Ryder was famously one of his ex-girlfriends.
And I said, what does it say? And he said, it says wino. I just laughed because I thought he was joking. And slapped me across the face.
Ms. Heard could prove that any single event occurred and constituted abuse. Then, in theory, she should successfully defeat the defamation claim.
But I'll remind you, that didn't happen because in the court of law, they decided she didn't prove a single event. She did prove malice. against Johnny Depp. Okay? That's volumes that they're leaving out. They're trying to say that the jury was so blinded by social media that they have no common sense, that they listened to her talk about, what was it, 12, 13, 14, 15 different episodes that happened to her, and not one of them was believable. That the only reason they didn't believe them is because Johnny Depp makes a damn good pirate. Oh, he's sexy AF. Of course they're not going to think it's him. I'm sorry, Amber Heard, as much as I dislike her, is one of the most beautiful creatures on the planet. She got perfect bone structure. She's the envy of many women. Okay? You would think that the jury would think the other way. Poor Amber Heard. Look at that beautiful woman. Who would hurt her? But no. They took the words that she said. They matched them up to more words that she said. And said, that don't make any sense. Like, how could you do this and then do that? Like, no. You know, how could you go through all that and never seek medical attention at all? Now, granted, everyone handles abuse differently. And I'm not going to victim shame those victims who don't get medical care. I'm just going to say loudly, clearly, use your heads. 15 events, not one medical report. 15 events, not one. Not one time. I'm sorry. Some of the stuff she talked about was so salacious, so abhorrent, violent, cause of real damage. I mean, come on. And she didn't seek any care at all. We're talking about someone who had opportunity to get away from Johnny Depp at any time, was not hellbound, traveled all over, never had to go back home. Okay, if she was that abused, okay, she had an out. She had money. She had opportunity. She had means. She was not so psychologically controlled by him, because we heard the tapes where she was vehemently destroying him. She wanted to be there. Okay. She wanted to be there. I'm not saying that she caused anything that may or may not have happened to her. I'm saying it didn't happen, because I can't possibly wrap my brain around somebody as strong-willed and determined as Amber Heard let that happen to herself repeatedly, 15 times. More than. Those are just the ones she wanted to talk about. Okay. Explain. Like, it doesn't make sense. But then I'm told that I'm just on a social media bus to damn her. And I'm not using my head. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just on that Johnny Depp team, you know, just saying, hey, you know, Johnny Depp makes a great pirate. Of course, Amber Heard's guilty. She's the one who did it. It couldn't possibly be him. Yeah, that's me. Oh, I'm dead. Yeah. No, come on. NBC, you can do better than that. Can't you? No. Yeah, well, maybe not. Maybe not.
He said, I've never had the opportunity to address this. Yes, he did. In the UK.
The UK trial was a little different than this trial because Johnny Depp was not suing his ex-wife. Johnny Depp was suing a tabloid newspaper for calling him a quote-unquote wife beater in an article. So Johnny Depp's team had to prove that he was not a wife beater, and he lost.
He lost? Okay. Yes, that's true. Because there are different laws in the UK. It was a judge, not a jury. The judge is allowed to take the actual evidence of Amber Heard's testimony in type by itself with no outside proof around it. He can just take it at face value. And he admits in his statement, in his closing arguments, in his opinion afterwards, that's been plastered everywhere, that Elaine surely has a copy of. Okay, surely she does. Where he says that, okay, that he's not saying it happened beyond a shadow of a doubt. He can't say that. What he can say, and what he did say, and I'm just going to extrapolate it in my own words based on the opinion that was put out there. He clearly said that the Sun had the right to say what they said because it was out there in the public that this had happened. And it was mentioned more than once by Amber Heard all over. And that it could easily be inferred. And that when she came forward and said, yes, Judge, it actually did happen to me, and this is why I speak about it out in public, okay, he chose to believe her, that it wasn't a lie. And he's allowed to do that in the UK, all right? And they went up to an appeals court where 3 other judges went with what he said and whether Johnny could appeal. And they said that, yeah, Johnny can appeal, but he can't add any new evidence. Because once the judge said that her testimony was good as is, then that was it. All right. And that's what happened. Kind of in a nutshell, I'm kind of like, extrapolating on it. There's probably much bigger legal terms I could use and go into greater detail, but you don't really care about that, right? You just want to know that, yes, okay, the Sun was told that they did not defame Johnny Depp by agreeing with Amber Heard that she was beat and using that term. Now, they did take it all out of there because they didn't want to fight anymore about it, but they didn't want to pay through the nose for it either, okay? Legally in the UK, they decided that they didn't do anything wrong. Okay, Elaine's not mentioning any of that. The lawyer is not mentioning the lawyer stuff, the legal stuff. Okay, the lawyer's not bringing any of that to her. She wants to say that because the judge decided that Amber believes that she was hit, that all that Amber said is true, and that was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that all those incidences occurred. And no, they didn't. Okay, because the testimony of all the friends that are backing up the Penthouse Agreement is debunked by the body cam footage of the officers, which happened well after the UK trial. Okay, so that can't be used. That's what Elaine is saying. Like, all her friends came and said that this happened and that happened, and they took it into. Yeah, they did, because they didn't have the body cam footage. They didn't have all the extra information. They didn't even know that she did not actually donate all the money. They didn't even know that to this day she's only paid $350,000, and that she's claiming that 13 months before the suit was put against her by Johnny Depp for defamation, that she needed that money to pay for lawyers. Really? Like, she's psychic too. Okay, come on. They're going to throw the UK trial out like that. At least throw the whole UK trial out like that. Put all the facts up. Come on. Like, this is very one-sided. This is trying to say that all out on social media, we didn't know what was going on. That we're all sticking up for Johnny because we couldn't possibly know what happened in the UK. We didn't look at the trial. Nobody's looking at the facts. Okay. Just what Amber leaks, right? Just what Amber wants out there. Come on. It's so one-sided. It was so infuriating. That's the only word I can think of. And there's more.
He lost the UK trial for defamation.
The judge found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence. We were deprived of ever bringing in the fact that there was a judgment against Mr. Depp.
Johnny Depp took to the stand and talked about his childhood, and he talked about the abuse that he suffered at the hands of his mother.
She was quite violent, and she was quite cruel.
My father stayed with my mother, and I wanted to do the same.
Depp's team wanted to demonize Amber every way they can, and at the same time try to suppress any of the evidence of Mr. Depp's domestic violence.
The evidence came in that should come in, and the judge was very fair to both sides.
Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, in this case, were the parties. They had different disclosure obligations.
But none of that came in because the judge determined that those were out-of-court statements.
Any good trial.
They were out-of-court statements. They're from the UK, okay? But Amber still retold every single one of them on the stand. So sorry, Elaine, we were there. It did come in. It just came in a way you didn't want. You wanted it to come into the trial like a perfect bow that said, because that judge in UK decided this, we have to take it over here as golden rule. It happened. Forget what the judge said at the end on, I am not proving the evidence or disproving the evidence. I'm just going by believing the witness's testimony as is. Because clearly that's what he said. All right. But no, Elaine wants to turn that into, they proved it. The evidence bared up. They had no choice but to decide that Johnny's the abuser. That's not what happened. Okay. She had to prove it all over again. And I'm sorry, she wasn't up to snuff. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. Because they didn't have the evidence to do it. Okay, to say that evidence wasn't allowed from the UK to be put in is wrong, because there was not a lot of evidence in the UK. Okay, what they wanted is the verdict to come in, the judge's opinion to come in, all of the old statements to come in, rather than have people give new statements, because they knew that the statements were going to change. All right. Let's be clear. Amber Heard, that group of friends that testified her in the UK, none of them are talking to her. None of them were going to come forward and do a good testimony. Okay. The testimony that they did give is very old, and we used old depositions in the current trial, which clearly, there is body cam footage to go against from the officers, actual visuals of what happened. And they didn't know that at the time, did they? Right. This is clearly biased. I mean, just to say that just to put that UK trial in there, verdict only, as if it's a win-win, just shows you how they were coming from this case, the angle of they knew they were going to lose. Because if you can't trust your witness and you don't have the proper evidence to go forward, you need all this crap, right? You need all this underhanded kind of shit. You need to spin that narrative around it. Then we saw them. We saw Rottenborn putting words in people's mouth until they said what he wanted them to say, although it didn't work every time, but it was kind of amusing to watch for a little bit. We saw Elaine stammering, cloning, when she couldn't get out what she wanted from a witness because they were just telling the truth. They were telling the truth. We don't want you to tell the truth. We want you to say it this way. You've got to say it this way. Don't say the truth. Don't say it your way. Let me manipulate you. Who does that sound like? I say it sounds like the abuser, because I still say Amber Heard is the abuser, and these people are not sticking up. This organization, NBC, all of the reporters that are involved, the major organizations, the NCADV, ACLU, Me Too movement, they are not actually representing a victim here. They're not. They're totally ignoring the victim. Totally ignoring because it doesn't fit their agenda. And that's what I'm calling out.
Trial attorney, and I think both sides did this, they're going to develop a theme. From Mr. Depp's perspective, their theme throughout was that I am not the abuser.
Never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman.
A man has to live within a system and a society that does not believe that he can be a victim. Men do not traditionally come forward. Of all the domestic violence victims, it's 85% women and 15% men. I do believe strongly that men are underreported.
And then they basically...
Okay. Now, with that being said, I have another little presentation because this really pissed me off. Miss Glenn, as I told you before, is the CEO of that organization, the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. It's a large organization, and it doesn't really slander women only. As you clearly heard her say, she knows the facts, right? She knows that men can and are victims, okay? She knows this. She has said it, right? She's saying it. Let me show you the piece that they put out from that organization. And I'm going to read it to you because you're not going to like this. And this is what really got me thinking about this actual case. This actual documentary, how biased they actually are. And I'm sorry that I'm not smooth with this stuff with presentation, but here we go. This is coming right from their website. This was put out on June 2nd, well before this, okay? The NCADV appalled by the Depp Heard verdict, concerned for the future of Me Too and Survivor Speaks. Now, Survivor Speaks is their hashtag that they prefer to use because they want to talk about people, the survivors of these incidents, just coming through and telling their stories. And they didn't want to be as attached to a woman's only type of thing. I mean, at least that's what they said. Okay, that's what they represented. And then, this article. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the NCADV, is appalled by the outcome of the Depp-Heard defamation trial and has serious concerns for victims and survivors' ability to speak out about their experiences. The history of high-profile domestic violence. High-profile cases that shine a light on domestic violence have been a wrongful source of entertainment in this nation for decades now. I agree with that. In 1993, people were making jokes at Lorena Bobbitt Gallo's expense. In 1995, headlines were dominated by the O.J. Simpson trial. In 2002, the murder of pregnant Lacey Peterson was breathlessly covered by news networks nationwide. Now, let me just point out, Lorena Bobbitt, when they called it a Bobbitt, they called what she did when she actually excised the man's penis because of what he had done to her. They were making a joke about him being penisless. They were not saying anything that she shouldn't have done what she did. I mean, yeah, it went back and forth. Oh, and I agree. Okay, but I don't recall ever seeing where they said that she wasn't a victim. I do recall them saying that she should not have taken things into her own hands, and that unfortunately, regardless of how he treated her, she now had to suffer the consequences of what she did to him. That's how it goes. Like, you are judged by your own actions. You don't get to use what other people do to you as an excuse to do things to other people. Now, I know that sounds harsh, and I don't mean to victim shame. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying own your shit. Okay? They're trying to use this and spin it. Do you see what I mean? I don't really believe that happened to Lorena Bobbitt. I know damn well it didn't happen in the O.J. Simpson trial. I know that O.J. tried to make it, and they were trying to say that Nicole Brown was this, that, or the other thing, but they clearly still ended up as victims in the end, did they not? We think of them as victims. We are sorry for what happened to them as victims. I never once thought that they weren't. What are they referring to here? Okay, and the pregnant Lacey Peterson. Who in their right mind said that she wasn't a victim? If there was any of that out there, it was minor. And yeah, there are going to be people that say shit like that. She was pregnant and she went missing. And I don't care what with Scott Peterson, whether he did it or not. I never didn't think that this woman who's dead and gone was not a victim. What the hell? Talk about using social media to make your point? Yo. I guess that's why you're in the NBC special, right? Because you know damn well how to use social media to get your point across, don't you? In 2009, there were jokes about Rihanna and Chris Brown, and a photograph of her injuries went viral against Chris. Against Chris as the abuser, that picture was shown. They weren't trying to shame Rihanna because she got beat. They were saying, look what Chris did. This is disgusting. Like, I saw that. I don't recall saying things about Rihanna not being a victim or shaming her for being so. I saw a lot of abuse towards Chris Brown for doing it. NCADV has been here for all those cases. We believe this one is different. The Me Too revolution and Survivor Speaks. In 2017, the Me Too revolution went viral on social media, 11 years after its inception by Tarana Burke. It marked a cultural watershed moment where victims of abuse felt, for the first time, encouraged to speak out about their experiences with violence at a perpetrator's hands. NCADV noticed how, over time, the focus of the global conversation was on sexual violence, specifically in the context of workplace harassment, which is why we introduced Survivor Speaks as a hashtag specifically for victims of domestic violence. Now, they're being very good here about not saying women, okay, or anything like that. And I give them that, okay? I give them that. But they are definitely couching here that Johnny can't be a victim, even though the trial clearly had testimony where he was victimized. He said he was a victim of domestic violence. Why is his voice silenced? Tell me. It was a public trial. I know you heard it. You're choosing to disregard it. You're jumping on this bandwagon. Okay, why? I want to know. They're saying this is what happened in the courtroom. During the testimonies of witnesses, including but not limited to Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, we witnessed in real time an abuser gaslighting, a common technique used to manipulate others, specifically systems like law enforcement courts, into misidentifying a victim for an abuser and an abuser for a victim. What? Okay, so clearly, Amber's the victim no matter what. It doesn't matter that none of her testimony held up. It doesn't matter that she doesn't have evidence against anything. It doesn't matter the 6 years prior of all the crap she put out about him, that all of this stuff was dropped by her. All of this stuff from her phone against him, that she defamed him. And he, yeah, I say, that is what happened. We saw her trying to do it to him. But you're twisting it to say that he's actually, because social media was behind him, and most of us agree that now that he is speaking out, that he is the victim, because he wasn't before, all right? He is now, okay? And we're believing him, but that means we're falling for the gaslight? He had no evidence to say it. It's just his words, right? Because I do believe he did have quite good testimony there. He really did. And I believed what he said. But he didn't only have good testimony and words. He had actual physical evidence. He had actual things I could see and almost touch and actually understand. Okay? Not just a histrionic acting thing of just my words. Believe me, because I am a woman and I'm the victim, because I said so. Because that's what Amber Heard came to court with. Period. And we didn't buy it. And I don't think we should have to. And I don't think we should be shamed by NBC and everybody else because we didn't believe it. And this is pissing me off. They're actually saying that that whole trial was a gaslit effort against Amber Heard. Like the legal system supports that. Like lawyers are supporting that. People trying to get justice for somebody are supporting abuse of another person like that. Like we all don't know our minds. We're all that easily fooled. At the heart of domestic violence are dynamics of power and control. Victims of domestic violence can be female, male, or non-binary. The important thing to remember when identifying an aggressor is to focus on who possesses the bulk of power and control between the two partners. This I take exception to, because that is true most of the time. It is a power dynamic. But let us not say that Amber did not selectively choose Johnny Depp because he was a powerful man. That Amber did not admit that she only dates older men of power. That she's got the track record of that. Okay. Where was Johnny actually putting power on her? Now, she did try to say that, oh, he didn't let me do this movie or that movie, while she did the best she's ever done in her career. Come on. I'm going to believe this. The whole time she knew him, he did nothing but open doors for her. She traveled around unhindered by Johnny Depp without Johnny Depp. Okay, on location, going out with her friends, going to concerts, traveling, vacations, everything. When they're, their schedules, they're adults. Their schedules didn't meet all the time. Oh, she had free will to do all of this, but she was under his thumb. Did you hear those tapes, people? Did you hear those tapes of how she talked to him? But he is the one with the power. He was the one with the power. I think that everybody in this damn documentary, nobody watched that trial. I think they're talking out their ass. I think they didn't bother to do the research. Because, social media had a big play. Social media did have a big movement in the favor of Johnny Depp, and I'm not going to deny that. I'm one of those channels that was out there reporting on it every damn day and supporting Johnny Depp while I did it, because I had watched everything that was going on before. I was witness to the 6 years of abuse by Amber Heard to Johnny Depp. Okay? I was happy he was getting his day in court, that he could tell his side of the story. Yeah, I was. And I told everybody I was biased from day one. I at least had the courtesy to say I was biased about it based on what I saw, not like NBC, trying to come out here like they're telling the truth that this isn't a hit piece. This, as I titled my video, is a freaking hit piece. Okay, this is Amber is upset about losing, and Amber Heard mentality. I'm sorry. It's just Amber Heard. She's the victim. She's the woman. After all, she's the ACLU representative. She couldn't possibly be lying, even though all the evidence says that she is. Even though, we're not allowed to look at the evidence. Yeah, God, don't look at the evidence, people. Just believe Amber. That's what I'm thinking they're saying here. Abusers often use litigation in courts to continue abusing their victim after the relationship ends, whether that plays out as a high conflict divorce, fighting for custody of shared children, or a defamation lawsuit. The underlying motive is for the abuser to manage and maintain the narrative. As an organization, we try to have faith in this nation's system, including its judges and jurors, to recognize domestic violence and hold an abuser accountable. Clearly, that was not what happened in this courtroom. They say that the jury didn't know what they were doing, that the legal process failed because Amber didn't have the evidence, because we didn't believe her. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I believe that the right thing happened. I don't think it's that easy to convince that many people. Do you? Because what? Johnny was a good pirate. He's a good fucking actor. So of course, we're going to go with him. He couldn't possibly do it. You know, I live in the real world, and nice people do really shitty things on a regular basis. I live there every day, every damn day. Why would I, if there was evidence that Johnny did it, I would believe Johnny did it. I would. As much as I don't like Amber Heard, if there was evidence that Johnny did it, I would believe that Johnny did it. I don't care he's a good actor. I don't care he's sexy, he's whatever, charming, nice. Hell, there's plenty of people like that. Would you show me evidence that they did wrong? Then they did wrong. Okay? But here's the thing. They want to not mention the trial in this hit piece because don't take that into consideration what they proved. Okay, they proved it, not to a single judge like in the UK, but to a jury of all those different minds, all those different opinions. That's who they proved it to. A majority, a unanimous majority, unanimous majority, not one judge. What happened outside the courtroom? Here we're going to address social media. What spilled out of the courtroom and into the media, including social media, was an abuser exerting control and manipulating the media and a loyal fan base to attack his victim on his behalf. Oh gosh, did I not? Oh my God, I never got any mail from Johnny Depp. Did you? Did you ever hear from any of his fan base to tell you to believe anything? Did I miss the email cycle? Was I left out in the cold? I mean, gosh, because I didn't get anything. I don't recall anybody telling me what to think. I don't recall anybody showing me stuff and saying, believe this, believe this, believe this. I believe I was left on my own accord to go look at stuff myself and to make my own decision. Like most of us who ended up supporting Johnny Depp, I believe we came there willingly after doing the research, not before. I believe we came there after looking into things, not before. I believe you're gonna, my favorite hashtag, the butt hurt need not reply. I think they all need to stop. You're lost. He did have more support. Yes, he did. But they didn't craft that. They didn't organize that. He wasn't out there preaching at a microphone and a podium every day like Amber Heard was for 6 years prior. Let's not forget that, okay? That's what she did. That's not what Johnny did. Johnny just did a defamation suit and told his piece in court, all right? And everybody looked at all the other shit that was coming out and just said, hey, there's something here. He might be the victim. Oh my God, he is the victim. What's wrong with us believing that when he proved it? There was no mass onslaught. I didn't sign on the dotted line to be a massive Johnny Depp supporter just because. Just because. It's ridiculous. They're trying to say that social media won this case. No, evidence did. A jury looking at it did. A jury listening to Amber Heard mess up on the stand, mess up, actually give testimony in this trial different than the other, different than what she put down in writing in her depositions in the freaking divorce case, okay? In the UK case and in this case, you could take the same story, match it up, and it's different. And you're expecting a jury not to know that. You're expecting that I don't have a right to point to that, make an opinion about that. Say, why is it different? Why is it getting bigger? Why are you exaggerating? Why are you lying, Amber Heard? I'm not allowed to ask that, huh? Well, I am, and I did. And I'm part of social media. And so were a lot of people. And you're right. There was a mass thing that we don't believe you, Amber Heard. I'm sorry, boo. We're just not in that you. And you're not entitled for me to like you or agree with you, or because you're a woman saying this stuff, believe you. I don't have to believe you, and you're not going to force me to believe you or tell me that I'm victim shaming when I don't, when I know I'm actually supporting the victim. I can see the evidence. And if I was wrong, I was willing to say I was wrong at the end of the trial. They didn't prove to me that I was wrong. They didn't. Neither are you now, NBC, Miss Glenn, Jamie, Amber. Victim blaming comes in many forms, including criticizing a victim for not acting how you expect them to. While we support the idea that survivors are experts of their own lived experiences with abuse, survivors are not necessarily experts of all survivors' lived experiences with abuse. What you would have done or not done is immaterial. What matters is believing a victim, even if you disagree with how they responded. If I believed she was a victim, that would be true. I don't care about all the others. Now, I know I said that about the medical evidence of not going to a doctor and stuff, because I believe that, because the odds tell me 15 separate events that she's willing to talk about, and not once. She did have opportunity. She talks about serious injuries, broken noses. She talked about broken ribs. That's not just, saying that I don't agree with how she handled it. That's saying that's just unreasonable, in my opinion. Only my opinion here. That's what I'm speaking on. I'm telling you. Is this too much? This woman who knows the procedures, knows the facts, this is what she said. It was too much. Listen, what happens next, according to the NCADV? The implications for the future of domestic violence victims and survivors are staggering. In seeing the mocking memes and jokes online, a victim may decide there's no point to reporting if this is what they will be expected to endure. But victims are not the only ones paying close attention to the trial. Abusers are watching too. Already we are hearing anecdotal reports of abusers threatening their victims. If you speak about this to anyone, I'll pull a Depp on you. If you speak on this and lie, I'll pull a Depp on you. I'll stick up for myself. When you say I'll pull a Depp on you, you mean I'm going to take your ass to court and make you prove what you say. You know what? If I'm lying on you, pull a Depp on me. Take my ass to court. Make me prove it. That's what they're saying. Okay? They're not saying don't speak out if you're domestic, if you are in a situation of violence. No one is saying that. No one is saying don't believe victims. We're saying don't believe those that are going out of their way to lie about it. We're saying it's okay to question a little bit. I can't believe 100% just because somebody says something, anything. Why do I have to do it because Amber's a woman? Why are you not doing it because Johnny proved he was a victim? It goes the other way. But they're refusing to see it. And to come out this hard against Johnny just because he won, that means he's the abuser. That's what they're using as the evidence. He won the trial. Social media supports him. So he must be the abuser because damn, social media, they're going to abuse. They're definitely going to support the abuser over anybody. Do you see why I'm so pissed off? Like, this is ruining my days and my nights right now, and it really shouldn't, because damn, the Depp Heard trial, has it not taken enough of my life already? I was there 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every day. It's taken so much from me. And now they want to take it all from all domestic abuse victims. They want to scare them and say that if you speak out, you'll get depped. Yeah, you will have to tell the truth. Yes, you will. You will. Please don't speak out unless it's the truth. Yeah. Please don't get a restraining order unless there really something happened. Or I believe in all those rights. Get an immediate restraining order. Get out of the situation. Okay. The opposing party has a right then to go and say whether it happened or not, and then that can all process. But at least you can get safe. Okay. And I want that for you. I do. What I don't want is for you to be able to hijack the goddamn system that we put there to protect your ass and turn it into something else, which is what Amber Heard and people like this who refuse to believe that Amber could possibly be the abuser are doing. They're setting us all up that we're not allowed to doubt anymore. We're not allowed to look at what's right in front of our damn face. We got to believe them. Okay, just to make the point. I don't believe that. I want reasonable aspect of it. I want to look at it from a reasonable angle. And I don't want to be persecuted for it or called dumb or sheep or just on the Johnny Depp bandwagon because I asked you to be reasonable about it. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, when people talk about domestic violence, they bring their biases to the conversation along with their words. I admit that. When these biases overflow into the mainstream conversation, it creates a chilling effect for future victims to report an already underreported crime. I don't believe that anything that I have ever said in regards to the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trials has caused anybody not to come forward for any reason whatsoever. I won't believe it. They're not going to make me, because I think it's the opposite. I think what they're doing, when they say that men underreport, that woman, just before I read this article, she clearly stated that she believes that men underreport what happens to them. You know why? This is why. This is why, Miss Glenn. You just did it. This is why. The percentage is only 15%, even though we know it's closer to 40, maybe even 50. Okay. When they poll people, it's 1 in 4 against 1 in 5. How different is that? Not much. But the percentages of actual reporting are 85 to 15. Why? Hit pieces like this. This is why. Miss Glenn is why. This article is why. The NBC documentary is why. Because if you report it, you're fair game, right? You're the abuser. You're only reporting it so you can get the upper hand on the real victim, because couldn't be any other reason. No way, right? No way. Because statistics say, even though I already countered my own statistics say that it's not the way it is. I don't agree. And there's more. Bear with me, people.
They spent the remainder of the trial just trying to poke as many holes in as many of Miss Heard's stories as they possibly could.
You have not donated $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
Another audio clip, she appeared to be mocking him over his claims of being abused by her.
And see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim of domestic violence, and yes. I know it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It was really hard as a viewer who advocates for victims of domestic violence to learn that Heard had used that social bias, that misconception, in a manipulative way.
Mr. Depp is your victim, isn't he?
Depp's legal team brought forth their former couples counselor.
There was violence from Mr. Depp toward Amber, correct?
Yes, you're right. With Ms. Heard, he was triggered and They engaged in what I saw as mutual abuse.
I will tell you, in all my years, I've never heard the term, ever. When we're talking about domestic violence, we're talking about a primary aggressor. In the context of retaliatory abuse, sometimes it's you beginning that exchange. But until you're in a situation in which someone is hurting you, you don't understand the dynamics that are at play there.
I was the love of my life, but he was also this other thing. And that other thing was awful.
Just goes to the overarching question of which party had the jurors' trust. With respect to photos of...
That was really important. Did you hear what he just said? It all played out to who they believed. But we're all idiots because the jury believed Johnny Depp. Social media had more to do with that than anything? I don't think so. No. Listen, she told a heart-wrenching story. It was really, really hard to hear. But they also had depositions from others. They had depositions of her own words that were able to be used against her. And you know what? The goal was to win this case. I'm not going to fault Ben Chu or Camille Vasquez for going after Amber Heard. She was going after Johnny Depp. They were defending Johnny Depp. All right. You know, nobody stopped Elaine Bredehoft from going before that jury and mentioning the word sexual assault something like 18 times in the opening statements. If that doesn't bias the jury against the whole trial, I don't know what does. We didn't stop her from doing that when she said it over and over again with no evidence of it. No physical evidence to prove it, no medical reports, nothing even in all of those psychiatric records and all of that therapy notes that they wanted to put in, all of these photographs that she said that she had. None of it proved it, okay? But she was allowed to say it and bias that jury. And they're worried about how social media felt about the trial. I'm laughing my ass off at this because they just don't see the ridiculousness of it, but I do. And I just had to get this out. And I know it's taken a long time, and we're going to get there. I might have to do this in 2 parts. I think he has a point there because there's another, but hopefully we'll wrap up within the half hour. I hope. But anyway, here we go for more.
Photos of Miss Heard. I think that the jury most likely found the testimony of the gentleman from TMZ to be very compelling.
Ms. Heard was filing a restraining order at a courthouse in downtown Los Angeles. So I dispatched camera people to that location. We would only ever send people there if we had been tipped off.
And the TMZ former employee effectively said that that was staged. When jurors see that, they're going to lose a lot of faith in anything else that's presented visually or otherwise.
I did not call TMZ or any other news source or paparazzi source. No one.
Basically, I didn't want him to find out online that I had or was about to file, or I had already filed for divorce. I wanted him to know verbally. So I was trying to reach him through a third party to tell him. When I say reach, I'm specifically saying I would like him to know information coming from me, or coming from Jerry, from me, so that he finds out about the divorce filing or my intention to do so from some other source other than TMZ, which was alerted, so that he finds out about the divorce filing or my intention to do so from some other source other than TMZ, which was alerted.
You slipped up there, didn't you, Miss Heard? You let it slip out that TMZ had been alerted to your filing of the domestic violence restraining order, didn't you?
I disagree. That's not what I'm talking about.
TMZ is the same outlet that you released the video of Mr. Depp attacking the kitchen cabinets the day before this deposition was taken, wasn't it?
I didn't do that. I don't
TMZ
know how
owns
to do that.
the copyright to that video now, doesn't it?
I have no idea what TMZ
Did they pay
owns.
you for that?
I never got paid for it because I had nothing to do with that.
So TMZ was just lucky in getting the inside scoop to your divorce from Mr. Depp, huh?
I have no idea. That's not my area of expertise. I wouldn't even know how to do that. And also, what does that get me? If I wanted to leak things about Johnny, I could have done that in a much more successful way, in a bigger way, for years.
Not
and
when
years.
you were extorting him for $7 million.
I got a fraction of what I was entitled to in the state of California, by the way.
Have reached out.
I'm going to let all of that speak for itself and just be quiet. Don't expect me to talk on that. You know what you just saw. The counter evidence to everything she was saying.
They have been triggered. I know that myself, I got triggered.
Sometimes jurors, whether male or female jurors, they don't want to see a woman cry. They don't find it believable.
Here she is being forced to recount all these things. And what do they say? Oh, she cried. What's wrong with these people?
Everyone's just having.
Can I just remind everybody, if anybody saw any tears from Amber Heard during that trial, could you please clip it for me? Because I couldn't find it. And neither could anybody else as we looked. Because Amber Heard didn't cry. Not once.
Having a good time, like normal stuff. So I just smiled, made a joke about how trashed the trailer got, and we had to get the manager. He had this like black mesh tank top, not tank top, it was like a meshy kind of shirt on. Whoa. And I remember he came into the trailer and looked around and was like, and Johnny had an exchange with him, and I went away. That just got fixed. I remember watching this man be so charmed. It was just a kind of a surreal experience. We walked out of the trailer at some point. My dog stepped on a bee. My dog stepped on a bee. I remember watching this man be so charmed.
There hasn't been TikTok.
I'm sorry. That was necessary because that was ridiculous, okay? Basically, Amber Heard's whole testimony is all about, they won't believe me. He didn't believe me. I don't like this one. Repeatedly, she said things like, he paid that one to come forward. They only believe him because he's a more powerful man than me. No, it's all like Johnny's manipulating the whole situation. Absolutely no accountability for anything. That man came forward willingly, who she's talking about, after hearing that she was lying about what happened and what he had done. She came forward afterward and gave testimony to say it didn't happen. Under oath, he risked going to jail for perjury. I don't think he would go to jail for perjury for Johnny Depp, do you? Well, that's not what they're saying here. They're saying we should believe Amber because, she cried. And we made fun of her because she cried. Well, she didn't cry. Not once. Not at all. She told stories we didn't believe. She told stories against herself, contradicted herself repeatedly, as you see with the TMZ stuff. As you see, the true colors do come out. This is what the jury saw. But NBC doesn't want to present that. They don't want to present what the jury saw. It's all us in social media. We influence them, not the other way around. Yeah.
TikTok, and there wasn't Twitter to cover these trials in real time. That really changed the course of this trial.
The jurors were not sequestered. The judge would instruct them each night not to do any additional research.
This is a long proceeding spanning 2 months. I just think it's unrealistic to think that the jurors stayed off of social media.
Breadth and depth of what we've seen, and particularly the attacks and abuse aimed at Ms. Heard, is something remarkable. Can you imagine being a survivor and seeing the mockery that she's endured?
If you actually watched it live on YouTube, there's a live feed, and every comment I saw while I was watching it for 6 weeks were pro-Depp.
If you want to go viral, you're going to want to talk about the events in favor of Johnny Depp.
I really think it has a lot to do with Johnny Depp wanting the cameras to be in the room in the first place. I think he was aware of the public's perception of him.
Johnny Depp was a star. He was a lot of people's first crush. And so there is a parasocial attachment that adds another layer of investment.
Because we don't know our own minds. We're so in love with Johnny Depp, we can't tell the difference between the abused and the abuser. You see what they're painting here? This narrative. You see this? I mean, I'm not the only one, right? I'm not making this stuff up. Right, exactly, Mia. She didn't cry. She got nothing, not even charged. Of course, I'm telling you. I am offended that they think that I'm so naive. I didn't look at evidence. I just based my opinion on the fact that he's the biggest star. And she's just not. You would think if we go with the statistics, here's the thing. If we go with the statistics, we would automatically assume that it's Amber, unless we see evidence otherwise. Clearly, we must have seen evidence otherwise because a whole lot of us went the other way. All right. It's real easy to think that it could be Johnny. He is more powerful than her. He's the star. He's the man. And statistics say it was probably the other way around. So organically, we may go there until we start looking at the evidence. Not the other way around. I have the right to hold Amber to the test of the evidence. But NBC thinks that I'm actually damaging every other domestic abuse victim out there because I don't believe her. They are causing this narrative out here, not Johnny Depp or his supporters. They are putting this out here. They're making this case that I'm actually hurting domestic abuse violence while I stick off with them. All of them, the men too, everyone. But because I don't believe Amber, because the evidence showed me that she wasn't telling the truth, I'm damaging everyone that's gone through this. Is that not the most ridiculous thing? Come on, really?
93% of the accounts posting have been in favor of Johnny Depp.
I did not expect for my TikToks to get over 6 million views. It's been great to see that so many people are on his side and so many people agree with me and think that, you know, she is a liar and a bad actress.
This monster of algorithms at play, where even if you've never followed Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, you were inundated on your social media feeds with aspects of this trial.
You also had segments of YouTube that had never covered anything even close to this trial, all of a sudden pivoting, people going from fewer than 100,000 subscribers to over 500,000 subscribers in a matter of weeks.
I really don't know anything about this.
Okay. This clip will show you that, oh yes, I realize it's ridiculous that the idea that Pokimane was covering the trial and actually admitting she knew nothing about it. I do get the absurdity there, but look at the numbers. She got a really tiny bump and she's got millions and millions and millions of people that follow her. So I'm sorry, a little bit of sour grapes there. Everybody was entitled to make money. It's not like NBC isn't making money on this hit piece, is it? Or that Kat Tattenberg didn't get paid for this, or any other NBC reporter to put this opinion out there. Now, Kat has a point. A lot of people made money on it. And a lot of people were on Johnny Depp's side about it because that's where the evidence was. That's what they were reporting. What was being presented, what was being said that. They were reporting on what they saw. Okay. And we're not going to get shamed for it because we saw with our own eyes what was going on. You're actually going to say that millions of us, let's be clear, millions and millions of us are wrong because we don't think Amber Heard's the victim. We're all wrong. And we're all damaging victims in general. We didn't do that. Why aren't you saying, damn, Amber, look what you did? Damn, Amber, look what you did against domestic violence. Look what you are doing for the movement. You're disparaging it. You're weaponizing it. Why aren't you saying that? The evidence shows that that's what's happening. But you would rather try to give us false narrative and point fingers at those that made money or actually reported what we saw, what we actually gathered from the evidence, like we don't know our own minds, like we're Robotrons. I could tell you I did not make money on it. I was a guest on somebody else's channel. They did pretty well. I don't fault them for making money on it, okay? I did not cover this for 2 years on an unmonetized channel in my own spare time to make money. How did I? I was covering it all the way back then, before the Johnny Depp defamation trial. Come on, Kat. A lot of us were, Kat. And those that decided to finally make money on it at the end and then bred with all their other friends more money on it when the legal teams came out because they saw also that the evidence was pointing the way it was. And still they didn't think that Johnny was going to win because defamation's that hard to prove. But that's how bad Amber's case was. But we're not talking about that, right? We're not allowed to bring the trial into this hit piece that you're doing here, NBC, and all of you reporters in NCADV. We're not allowed to talk about that because you would rather us all be to blame for what's going to happen to victims, what Amber did to that narrative.
In any really big case, you'll see a lot of fascinating kind of banding together of people. There are people who love Johnny Depp and genuinely adore him and think that he is a great man and are very worried about him.
You also have men's rights factions of the internet contributing to this conversation, along with people who love true crime.
You have domestic abuse survivors who don't feel like Amber Heard was a reflection of them.
But what are your thoughts on Amber Heard?
I myself am a survivor of domestic abuse, and I felt like I could see right through when she's on the stand and the things she would say, that manipulation that they do.
I'd like to remind us all that all victims are not the same. Ms. Heard is what we would call the imperfect victim. As a society, we have a stereotype of what a victim of domestic violence looks like.
It is a certain amount of crying, but not too much. A certain amount of anger, but not too much.
Victims and survivors of domestic violence each are different, and they have different experiences. There is no perfect victim.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I loved Johnny, that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name. And at the time, I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
But Johnny is not allowed to do the same thing. Right? Wrong.
Wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, as a noble victim of domestic violence,
I
didn't
have
you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I
You-
ever called myself one.
Amber Heard doesn't call herself a victim. In the prior NBC interviews with Savannah Guthrie, Amber clearly actually came out and said she didn't identify with all of those people that identified themselves as victims. They cut that out after it got a lot of play. They did. That's fact. Here's the rest.
He won. Okay. That's going to be an interesting fallout for a lot of domestic abuse survivors.
Because Johnny's not allowed to win against all of the domestic abuse survivors, because apparently the case wasn't just Amber versus Johnny. It was Amber and every single domestic abuse victim against Johnny Depp. Because that's what this whole damn hit piece is saying. See why I'm pissed? You should be too. We need to spread this shit. They are wrong. I know they want to support domestic abuse victims. So do I. That doesn't mean I got to support Amber Heard.
For me to come up here and stand before you or sit before you all and spill the truth is quite exposing. And it's unfortunate that it's not only exposing for myself, it's exposing for my family, it's exposing for Miss Heard, it's exposing for, it never had to go in this direction. And so I can't say that I'm embarrassed because I know that I'm doing the right thing.
I think from Mr. Depp's perspective, his legal team put on an incredible case and pulled a rabbit out of a hat. It's apparent from the jury's verdict, they didn't believe anything she said.
When we heard the verdict, we were very disappointed. We have struggled for years to ensure that survivors' voices are heard. It turned out that the jury believed that it was defamation, which is, by the way, a control tactic by a lot of abusive persons in order to maintain control. Defamation cases will be exerted more often. It won't be pretty.
What was his reaction in the moment?
I think just an overwhelming sense of relief.
Social media certainly took off in a way that we've seen high-profile trials before. But do you believe the jurors saw any of that, were swayed by any of that?
No, I don't think there's any reason to believe that the jurors violated their oath. And that suggestion was disappointing to hear.
Do you see any larger message beyond the case you tried?
No. I mean, frankly, we don't. We're here to talk about the case that we tried, right? We encourage all victims to come forward, have their day in court, which is exactly what happened in this case.
I have been glued to the TV for the last 6 weeks, so it will be nice to get my life back, but I am probably even happier just knowing that justice was served.
The jury awarded Johnny Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive. So, but then they also awarded $2 million to Amber Heard in compensatory damages. So then if the counterclaim says that she never committed an abuse hoax, then I don't understand how you could have both things be true.
Let me explain it then. Oh, lovely pause. She could stay like that. I'm really upset with her. She could stay like that for a little while. Anyway, about the previous statement. You know how that happens? Because the jury clearly stated of those three questions, question 1 and question 3 clearly indicated that Adam Waldman was actually referring to abuse or sexual harassment at that point, and that they don't believe that Johnny did that. However, they're going to also say that Adam had no right to accuse her of a crime in question number 2 when there was no evidence to support it. And actually saying that somebody is committing a crime without evidence is defamation. So, yeah, that's how that happened. That's how that happened. I'm glad I could explain it to you. And it was legitimate. I don't really have a problem with them having an issue with Adam speaking out the way that he did. He was the lawyer, and he should have known a little better that he could get in a little hot water for talking the way he did out of turn. But as it comes down to it, had they actually been able to go over the body cam footage, they would have not even done that one. All right. But what they did say in awarding Amber Heard that $2 million is you don't get to get defamed either. But Johnny's not the one that defamed you, and Johnny didn't abuse you. Question number 1 and question number 3 were a no, and they regards to Johnny. Question number 2 was all Adam. And they said, yeah, Adam did it. I'm glad I could clear that up for her. I'm hoping that you guys didn't have a problem with it. But just in case the rest of YouTube doesn't understand and thinks that she actually playing stupid like she didn't know that happened, or didn't actually refer to anybody, or there any legal minds there at NBC to figure that out. She'd rather sell the narrative that because the jury actually gave her any money, it couldn't possibly be that Johnny's the victim. Yeah, it is. Johnny is the victim. Jury said so. Really loud.
I saw, is Me Too over? And you darn tootin' it's not. How do we deal with something like what just happened? She wrote an op-ed about her domestic violence. The op-ed and the social media were weaponized against her. So what does that mean to someone else who may want to talk about this? It's going to be tough.
This trial really demonstrates the power of the internet and how campaigns for public opinion can shape real world effects.
So if we imagine a college student who is a victim of sexual assault who wants to tell her story, the worry is that we might need to start counseling victims that telling their stories can have a very significant financial price.
What happens if I get ambered? Because we're beginning to hear those terms, or we heard.
Can I just clarify that when you get ambered, you're just held to telling the truth. You're just held to prove your accusations. You're just told when you get ambered that you need to back it up. You need to walk the walk and not just say the talk. Just to be clear.
We heard the term Friday, I will Depp you.
We are already seeing other celebrities who are accused of sexual violence filing defamation suits against their accusers.
The Me Too movement at its core was about victims coming forward and telling their stories.
We're women and we're proud. We won't be shut down.
I do wonder whether there will be that power in numbers again, whether people will be willing to go forward knowing they could get sued for defamation.
There will be plenty of plaintiffs who will file and pursue claims that may not be winning claims, but they'll take that chance.
As a father, raising kids, when they were very, very little, it was important to me, very important to me, to try to shield my children as much as possible from looking at their father or their mom, for that matter, as novelties. I didn't want my children to experience hordes of paparazzis. The only way that I could get to the point where I could speak has really taken this full 6 years.
Okay. Wow. I've kept you here for 2 hours with my rage against this hypocrisy, against this damn offensive narrative that he couldn't possibly be a victim. And then us believing him means that we're going against every other domestic violence victim out there. That's a load of horse shit. That is just so wrong and so vile that I had to do this. And I don't normally do this kind of shit. This is the first time I've done a commentary on a damn video by anybody, because I do believe everybody has a right to say what they think. But when they force a narrative that we all don't know what we're talking about, that so many of us are coming against a whole group of people that need our support, just because we don't believe one of them who lied repeatedly, who it was proven lied repeatedly. That's wrong. And I'm going to keep speaking about it. And every time they do it, I'm going to do it. And that's just the way it is. And I'm not making a goddamn cent on it either. So take that, cat. Not a fucking cent to do the right thing. It doesn't cost a dime to do the right thing. You can't silence people just based on what social media did. You're not going to say that the court of law is a hoax because you didn't get what you want. The hell with that. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to end now because it's been long, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, Grace Case, for the super chat. I couldn't put it up. Thank you, Sean Coffey, for joining my membership, and we'll talk about those benefits. Thank you all that I didn't get to greet when you came in here because I was busy cutting and editing and not editing, but pausing and stuff like that. Thank you to Virilian, who's in the chat, who helped me edit this because I got no skill. I own a potato. Hell. Thank you to those of you who supplied the articles, the clips. Thank you to Colin, who helped talk me through this a little bit. Sorry, I don't mean to embarrass people by mentioning their names, but I am grateful for the support that I get on this channel to be able to say what I need to say. And I had to say it today, and I thank you all for being here and listening to it. And on that, I'm going to say good night.